friends, Leanne here. I get so many emails from people expressing to me that they feel they're opening up spiritually. They may be having experiences on an intuitive level or more of a spirit communication or connection level. And the emotions or feelings that come with this really run the gamut from people who are extremely fearful and don't want this, don't want to have these experiences that are happening, to people who want to understand what's going on and perhaps explore some gifts they may have or may be expressing in themselves at this time in their life. And so because I get so many questions about this and what to do on it, my intention is for this video to bring knowledge and awareness of what may be happening and also how to handle or deal with it. So as always, I'm going to have my notes and I'm going to have everything set up. So here's what is going to be in this video. So I'm going to speak about what is opening up spiritually, because we need to have a foundation of what we're talking about today. And what I won't be talking about in this video is anything to do with mental illness or that side of it. That's a complete different topic and a different subject for people who might be having experiences that are more of a mental or an emotional breakdown and not having an opening or an awakening spiritually. So that's a completely different topic. I'll also be discussing why so many people are fearful of their opening up, like where fear can be coming from, why people have fear, and some of the things that can be happening around in our lives that can be creating that fear. So I'm going to go over the fear. I'm also going to talk about why some people are more prone or their energy is more suited to having spiritual communications or intuitive connections that or opening them up spiritually. Why some people, and I'll bring up children. And then fourth, I'm going to bring up what you can do about it. So whether you're someone that wants to explore your gifts or to expand them, or you're someone that's not really interested and you want to stop the madness. No, that's just a joke. There's no madness here. So first up, I want to talk about what opening up spiritually is. And opening up spiritually is also called waking up. People begin to have experiences of intuition or spirit connections, like I was saying. They may start to see shadows or shadow people, what they most commonly called as shadow people moving around their home. They may be having electronic experiences, light bulbs popping, lights going on and off, things on your phone, text messages that don't go anywhere, calls aren't from anyone coming through. You might have things moving in your home and to full-on apparitions of things. Sometimes some people just feel things, like they might feel that someone is around or they feel like someone's watching them. That's a sign of opening up spiritually in some way. Now, just because you're opening up spiritually, it doesn't mean that now you need to go and take intuitive classes, or you need to take mediumship classes, or study spiritual topics. But certainly you can. It's a sign that things are opening up for you. So a class is often a good way to have more knowledge and understanding of all of these different things that can happen. So whether you're feeling things or just that sense of someone's there, whether you're hearing sounds, some people hear their name being called, or you might be hearing other noises, or it's like there's whispering and you can't quite figure it out, like what's being said. Especially hearing things when you are getting ready to fall asleep at night and when you're first waking up in the morning is a common time for people to have that sense of that they're hearing things. Like the shadows, the apparitions, you may be seeing them. And another one that I think people discount but is still very powerful are just knowings. Having a gut feeling or something. You don't know why you know it, or you don't know how you know it, and it's a little bit beyond what we would call like women's intuition or mother's intuition. There can be more to it. So if you're having these experiences, there could be an awakening for you. One of the things that is also very common is that people start to see sparkles out of the corners of their eye. And it's often when they're resting or they're quieting themselves. It's not that that's the only time that this may be happening, but it's an easier time for us to recognize it because we're not busy doing a million other things in our day. So it's often when we're relaxing, laying down before we go to bed, or if we're sitting in a darkened room and we're watching television or some movies, we can see these sparkles out of the corners of our eye. And that is spirit world. That is spirit, whether it's the angelic realm or loved ones or our guides. It can be any or all of the above of them, of our spirit team coming through and showing themselves that way through sparkles. So it's another common thing for people to experience when they're opening up. And in my opinion, all of this, we need to approach it from a space of love, and we need to check ourselves on why we would be so fearful of any of these experiences. And I'll get into the fear now. Fear is often, or what we have, or why we have fear is often because we don't understand something. It's not normal. We're not taught about it. We don't teach about spiritual experiences, whether we're having dreams or visions or knowings, or we're seeing things or hearing things. We're not taught this in school. Most of us aren't taught this in our families. And so then therefore, when we start to have experiences and they're abnormal experiences, we attach fear to them. That's a common reason for people to immediately be fearful, because it's not normal, or it hasn't been normal. For someone like me, it's quite normal. I am often bothered in the middle of the night, or I have been bothered in the middle of the night. And the first thing that tells me is that I need to get back into my daily practice of quieting my mind, to meditate or just sit quietly so that I make a connection to spirit, because they're wanting to connect and communicate. And it isn't always for just a very big message. It isn't always to tell us that there's something that we can do or take an opportunity. That is something that spirit often does, but sometimes they just want to link in and be present with our energy. Like it's a vibrational thing, and it's good for us. It's good for our body. It's good for our energy. Another reason I really feel people have fears as it relates to opening up or having spiritual experiences is because of religion. We're often taught that anything that has to do with this is going to be bad, or it's going to be negative, or that it's dark or it's evil. We hear a lot more from our religions about demons or the dark side, or Satan trying to get us, or Lucifer stories, fallen angels of the Bible, that we're more likely in our religious stories to hear about that negative side, or things that could happen to us, than we are to be taught that these could be very positive experiences we're having. And so for a lot of people, religion or their beliefs religiously can be causing fear with these experiences. We're also taught that this is to connect to spirit, or even your spirit team, can be a very negative thing for a lot of religions. They don't promote it, they don't encourage it, they discourage it, and there might be a lot of teachings that churches or religions give that really don't want someone to have these experiences or these connections. There's also TV ghost shows that just promote all of the fascinating, titillating, all of the stuff that grabs people's attention, because a lot of people's attentions aren't held when things are light and fluffy and happy. And so if there's darkness or fear or scariness, then people are more apt to watch. They're going to get more of the public to watch those shows. But then someone who's having a true or genuine experience might see something like that and think immediately it's going to be negative or dark, or that it's a ghost, or that they're being haunted, or it's demons, or things like that. And oftentimes it's not. Oftentimes it's our spirit team or loved ones connecting us. And most of the time when it is a ghost or earthbound spirit, that they're relatively harmless. They're not really ever trying to hurt us. They may be stuck for some reason. This isn't really a video about ghosts, but that can be a reason as television shows create fear in people. But if you want a video on ghosts or things like that, then leave me a comment. And don't forget that I am open to all of your suggestions on topics for videos. So, lack of knowledge, I think, is one of the main reasons that people have fear. They don't understand and they don't know. And I mentioned this briefly in my opening there about the lack of knowledge, that and knowledge really is power. Knowledge does bring us to a greater understanding. And when we seek to experience things or the things that are going on in our life, whether they're positive or negative, from an understanding or a learning perspective, we're already on a better foot. We're already empowering ourselves in a such stronger way. So what you don't know or what you don't understand about what's happening could be creating fear in you when there's really nothing to fear at all. It's not real. I want you to remember to always approach everything with love. So if you're having a fearful experience or you are not liking the spiritual experiences that you're having, then I want you to back up and I want you to remember you're going to approach things from a loving perspective first. You're not going to put in the negative component on your side of things from the get-go. So if we remember that, we often do a lot better. Alrighty. Now, why do some people kind of seem to attract more of this than other people? I do believe that some people are more suited for spirit work or connecting to spirit or intuitive work. Some of us just have more of an energy about us that's that way. So think about it this way. How many of you out there are doctors or would want to be a doctor? I know for me, I would not. I do not have the energy. I don't have the personality to be a doctor. I don't even like it when I'm sick. I don't want to be around people that are sick. I don't like going to hospitals. I don't even really like going to the doctor. I know that it's necessary and I love my doctor, but it's not something that I really want to do. So it doesn't match my energy. It's not suited for me. But some people, even when they feel they don't want it, they are somehow energetically or even from a soul path or a soul purpose perspective more connected to spirit and intuitive experiences, and perhaps even have more of the potential to go into a life where they're helping other people from an intuitive or from a spirit perspective as well. So it's something to think about, and if it's something you're resisting or wanting to resist, still consider that knowledge is power, and learning about why you would have these experiences or what you can even do about it or to learn about them will help you to feel comforted, and it will help you to release the fear. So when you have experiences, you feel more empowered and in control. Children are very open, so I do want to discuss children here. And I know that a lot of you know that I was a school teacher for almost 20 years, and I worked in elementary education, have 2 master's degrees, and so working with children has always been something very near and dear to my heart. And children just are more connected to the spirit world. One of the reasons is because they just came from the spirit world. So a 3-year-old is just 3 years away, or older now, from having been on the other side or in heaven. So they're more connected to it. They still have some kind of an energy link to the other side or the spirit world. Some people, some children have more connections to it than others, just like what I was saying. Not everybody's meant to have the energy to be a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher or a nurse. We're all different. So some of us have more energy that's more apt to be connected to spirit. So even with children, some are more likely than others. And in a family, this can often be very interesting because the adults in the family may have had experiences when they were younger kids, and then now their kids are having experiences, and it heightens everything for everyone in the family. This often leads to people thinking or believing their house is haunted or they're cursed or something that way because, like I was saying earlier, we tend towards the negative when we shouldn't be. We shouldn't be assuming that what's happening to us is a negative or a bad thing. Now, you may not want it, but it doesn't mean that you need to fall into fear around the things that are happening, especially if something's happening with your children. What you want to do is teach them and empower them. You want them to understand that there's more to this life than the physical world, that we are still linked to heaven. Whatever your beliefs in your family are, share them. Help their children to understand what their experience is and then empower them to do something about it. So if they're busy and they have a little spirit friend that's around and they don't want to be bothered by the spirit friend, it's the same thing that we would teach our children with living. Like you tell them to go. I'm not playing with you right now. You teach your child how to put their foot down, which leads me in to the next section here, which is about what do you do about it? What do you do if you're having experience? So let's deal on the side of it like if we're not wanting to have some of the experiences. And even if we do, there can be times in our day or our life where we don't want to be interrupted by the spirit world. We have every right to put our foot down and to tell the spirit world, now is not the right time. But what you want to do is create space in your life or your day to connect with spirit. By meditating. It's by, if you're folding the laundry, you quiet your mind and you create a quiet space to connect and feel what you sense around you. If you're bothered with your sleep, then you definitely need to build some time in your week. It doesn't have to be daily, but build some time so spirit knows when an appropriate time is to connect with you. So one thing you want to do is create time in your life to make a connection. It doesn't have to be sitting down and just meditating cross-leggedly, quiet. You can be out walking your dog. You can be on the treadmill. You can be doing yoga. You can be folding your laundry or drying your dishes. Whatever it is that you're letting your mind go quiet and not thinking of all of the things that we usually do in our head, our to-do lists and what's next, and I've got to call this person or I've got to make sure I take care of this, and we're letting everything go quiet so that the connection can be made in an appropriate time. And I will even make appointments with my spirit team and I'll say, on this day at this time, I'm going to be sitting down to meditate, to connect with you. Or that's when I'm going to be doing yoga. It's going to be a perfect time to connect into my energy. So you want to build space or time in your day to help you deal with what's going on with opening up. So meditation is crucial, but it doesn't have to be just meditation. You're going to want to create a journal, a dream journal, and then a waking journal of your experiences. And you want to record them. You want to be as detailed as possible with your journals. Of course, in a dream journal, the more detail you can put into it, the more you can look back and reflect on it later, because intuitive people or people who are waking up intuitively often have very vivid dreams. And then if in the daytime or in your waking time, even if it's nighttime, then you want to keep a journal of the experiences that you're having, or maybe even other members of your family are having. So if you're seeing shadow people, or you're experiencing apparitions, or you feel that sense that someone's watching you, keep a journal, the time of day, the day of the week that it is, what the weather is outside, your emotions or feelings around it, the feeling that it gave you, and why did it give you that feeling? Are you being pushed? Are you being scratched? Are things moving in the house? Or electronics being disturbed? The more detail that you can put in your journal, the more it's going to help you. And also, if there is more going on in your home, then someone like me has better tools to work with to help you to deal with what's going on in your home. So keeping that journal is very crucial. And even with my students, I require them to keep a journal. Another thing that you can do, whether you are wanting to push away the experiences that are happening or whether you want to embrace them, is to clear your spaces in your home and your own energy. And the best way to do that is with frankincense and myrrh. Now, I am going to create a separate video on exactly how to do that, but it's really very simple. And I do teach it in my beginning intuition course, the one-day course. But you just get some charcoal discs, and they're round and they look like little briquettes, like you would put on a barbecue, but they're not. They're a little bit different. You get a very safe container or a dish. You light the briquette, and then you put some frankincense and myrrh on the hot briquette, and you use the resin. They look like little pebbles of sand or little beads. They call them resin. So it's frankincense and myrrh resin. You can get that off of Amazon. I would suggest using Amazon or going to an Indian store, like an East Indian store where they sell incense and things like that. If you go to a spiritual store, they're apt to charge you a lot more for the same thing. So I'm always about, like, you don't need to spend extra money. But frankincense and myrrh works great. Saging does very little. Saging really only clears the energy of the home of living. It doesn't necessarily clean spirit energy, but frankincense and myrrh does, so that is also something that you can do. One thing you can do if you have children that you feel are being affected by this is empower them with the tool. Now, I don't believe that tools are the answer to anything, but they can be helpful in us setting an intention. So lighting a candle. I encouraged a friend one time whose daughter was having a lot of spirit activity in her room, and so they bought a special nightlight, and it was a symbolic nightlight. It had a character on it, and every night before she went to bed, when she was plugging in her night into the wall, she set an intention and like a little prayer that she was not going to have visitors from heaven, that her room was a free zone while she went to bed or she slept at night, and it did wonders. And she would just say, she just became strong and took charge, and this little girl took power of her room and her space, and it made a huge difference. For some people, because burning a candle all night in a child's room might not be safe, but having them do something, teaching them to sage, if you would like for them to do that, light a candle and say a prayer, set an intention, all of these things to help yourself or children. The power is not in the sage. The power is not necessarily, say, in the nightlight or in the candle, but it's in the intention setting to say, like, everyone out. Like, I will even say that when I'm clearing the space in my home. All right, everyone out, done. If you need to come back tomorrow, because it is what I do, then they can come back. But it's putting your foot down. But I never approach it from an aggressive standpoint. I'm firm, I'm serious, and at times I may even be a little angry, like, no, this is not the right time, get out. And I've even stomped my foot, like really hard on the ground and said, out, and supported the energy of clearing. But it's really the intention that you set and helps with the power of that. So, and frankincense and myrrh has some just beautiful properties about it that are very spiritual, and that's for a whole nother video, but it's something to think about. So I hope I've answered your questions. Feel free to ask me questions or leave comments in the comment section below. I want to thank you for visiting my channel, and I hope you come back again and again to experience some more of the informational videos that I have created and the more that will come. I'm very interested in what you would like to learn about or what you would like to know, so also leave me a comment there, and don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate it, and from my heart to yours, I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day. Bye.